What's up everybody, Jeremy Weiss here with Weiss Tech Hockey, and this is our second philosophy video in our Hockey Coaches Training course. And what I wanted to talk about in this video is when to start teaching hockey systems. Now, there are a lot of different opinions on this. A lot of people believe really strongly one way, a lot of people believe really strongly another way. That's fine. What I'm going to do is lay out my own personal opinions and talk a little bit about why I believe what I believe. And then you're going to use your own infinite wisdom as a coach to apply these concepts as much or as little as you want within your own team. Every team's different. Every team has different skill sets, and some of this stuff may or may not apply to your own specific situation. So let's go ahead and break into this. This is philosophy: when to start teaching hockey systems. Before we get started, here's some common conceptions about hockey systems being taught to youngsters. First, young players don't need systems. All focus should be on skill development. You may or may not have heard that one before. Young players can't be taught to implement systems. I've heard that one a lot. A lot of people don't believe that young players are capable of executing a structured breakout, for example. And we'll talk a little bit about this as well. Systems aren't important and shouldn't be taught till Bantam or Midget. For some reason, this one's really popular right now. Over the last couple of years, there's been a growing belief that really you shouldn't even touch systems until Bantam or Midget. And we'll get into a little bit of that as well. Small area games teach players all they need to know at young ages. This was another one that's becoming more and more popular with the popularity of small area games. I think small area games are great and should be used to accomplish certain things, but I don't think that they teach players all that they need to know about playing the game of hockey. For example, skating skills. I think skating skills need to be taught in a skating skill environment where your focus is on on skating, not on trying to win a small game. So I think as far as technical development, I think there's a lot that needs to be developed outside of a small area type of a game. But I do think that once these skills are established, I really think that small area games are very beneficial in reinforcing skills that have already been taught. So that's my personal opinion on small area games. Teaching systems too young inhibits individual skill development. This is another one that is potentially true if the systems being taught are taught incorrectly. So if the coach neglects to develop individual skills, then absolutely the individual skills will be hindered. But I believe that it's possible to do both, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But my basic philosophy on this is common practices yield common results. So if you want to get what you've always got, what you've always gotten, then do what you've always done. So common practices yield common results. And we'll talk about my little philosophy on this one as well. Systems can and should be taught at young ages. And this may sound like a radical new concept to some people, but let me kind of explain where I'm coming from on this, and then we'll go from there. You may or may not know this about me already. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, so great little hockey town there. And at age 8, my dad had an idea. And his idea was to go around and recruit the top kids from the city and put them all on the same team, and then have the same kids stay together over the course of 5 years. And so he had a 5-year plan with the end goal of winning an Ontario championship at the AAA level. So what we did was at age 8, we were too young to start AAA. So what we did was we played a full team of underagers. So we had a full team of 8-year-olds. We played at the 9-year-old level, which was novice at the time. We played novice AA. So we played underage 1 year, but we played AA. Then the next year, as we became 9-year-olds, then we moved up to the AAA, but stayed at our own age group. And that's how we started our 5-year plan. Like I said before, he recruited the top kids from the city, had a heavy focus on individual skills. In fact, he brought in a number of different coaches. That's one of the great things about living in Toronto, is that you've got access to so many good hockey people. And he brought in a number of different coaches to help us out with individual skills and various types of development. So we had heavy focus on individual skills. And he also introduced a radical new concept. And that radical new concept was he also taught us systems. So heavy focus on individual skills, and we were taught to play structured team systems. How was this done? Now this is actually, I kind of jokingly have top secret stuff here, but really I haven't explained this to anybody. I've told a few of my close friends locally how this was done, but I've never put this out there online or anything like that. So you guys are getting privy to some really top secret stuff here. But let's explain how this was done. First and foremost, we had extremely talented and intelligent players. So this won't work for every single team. We had very good individually skilled players, and we were also smart, willing to learn 8-year-olds. Okay. Next, taught fundamental concepts such as timing and support, and this was really important to give us a baseline of of knowledge that we, because understanding concepts like timing and support will allow you to improvise in certain situations. So if the play doesn't end up directly as it was drawn up on the board, timing and support concepts will allow you to improvise and, readjust and make the play work. So we were taught fundamental concepts like that. He periodized the focus on skill sets. So at the beginning of the season, we worked on certain skill sets. Towards the end of the season, we worked on other skill sets. That's where some of the 70-30 rule that I talked about in our other video comes in. And then he also had a multiple year plan of what skill sets we should be learning and acquiring over the course of those 5 years. Systems governed our defensive zone play, and concepts governed our offensive zone play. So in the defensive zone, we had structured positions where every player was expected to complete their role. In the offensive zone, we were taught to play an attack triangle, but we're allowed to be very creative within that attack triangle. So that's where I'm saying concepts such as timing and support governed our offensive zone play. Then the big one, he color-coded a breakout system for us. Now, at age 8, we had, like I said before, extremely talented young players. But even a talented, young, smart 8-year-old isn't going to be able to read and react as effectively as an older player. And so what he did was he color-coded a breakout system, taught us the patterns. Each breakout had a color. And what he would do is he'd take the read part out of the equation for us. He would read the play from the bench, call out the color, and you would see it like clockwork, all these little 8-year-olds tick, 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 and we'd break out clean. So for example, we had, if he noticed that the play, a lot of the pressure was on the one side of the ice and, the weak side of the ice was open, he would call a yellow to green. And a yellow to green meant the defenseman skated it behind the net and passed up to the winger on the boards. And so he'd call out yellow-green, and you'd see it. All of these, all 5 little 8-year-olds react to his read, and they would implement the pattern that we had been taught. And it worked really, really well for us. Another rule that we had was that dump and chase was strictly prohibited or strictly forbidden. At young age groups, you see a lot of, dump it in, dump it out, dump it in, dump it out. And wherever the puck goes, you've usually got 5 players on one team, 5 players on the other team chasing it. So, they're chasing it from corner to corner up to the point. And we weren't allowed to do that. We were forced to spread out, forced to carry the puck in under control. And, that really, that was another way that individual skills were forced to be developed because we had to control the puck. We had to puck handle, even in game situation. So that's how it was done. How well did it work? Spectacularly well. Let me just tell you a little bit of our successes as a team. The team was executing real breakouts in defensive zone coverage at age 8. By age 10, our breakout patterns were second nature for us. So we had already been doing these structured color-coded breakouts for 2 years. And at this point, we were taught to read and react for ourselves. So our coach no longer read the play for us. We'd read it for ourselves. In fact, we'd call out our own breakouts, and we would execute on our own. By age 12, and this is when most teams were just starting to begin work on structured systems, we'd already been doing it for 4 years. By now, we had multiple forechecking setups as well as full-blown special teams, power play and penalty kill in place. So we were very far ahead of the game at that point in time. And then by age 13, this was the end of the 5-year plan, remember. We had won 26 out of 32 major tournaments, both in Canada and US, including a world championship, runner-up in another world championship to Russia Red Army, which is another cool story for another video. And we did end up winning that All-Ontario Championship. So it worked really well for us. So really quickly, summary. Develop skill sets in the order of the hockey development pyramid, which we talked about in another video. Talented players are generally more advanced physically than mentally. With respect to systems, teach positional patterns first, read and react second. Do not let systems development rob skill development. They can both take place simultaneously if practices are structured correctly. Small area games should be used to mimic and reinforce skills and concepts that have already been taught. They should not be used as the teaching mechanism in and of themselves. Have both long-term and short-term vision for your development, and you will have a great time teaching skills and systems to your team.